Welcome back. In Selenium Web Automation, the biggest problem that we often face is exceptions. When we work with web elements, the exceptions are common and challengeable thing to proceed further. In today's session, I've covered the important different exceptions. After watching this video, you will definitely gain enough confidence to handle them. One more thing to highlight. Firstly, we'll try to understand what is causing the exception, and then we'll figure out the way through which we can fix that particular exception. Let's get started. We'll see about SessionNotCreatedException. I've created this class. I've defined two different variables here: private WebDriver driver, private string URL. This is to declare a driver. This is to declare an URL. I've just assigned this particular URL value to this URL variable. Here is the before test annotation. I've created a method invoke URL, and system.setProperty. This is to set the particular driver path, Chrome driver path. I place this Chrome driver.exe inside this path as test resources. We are trying to create an object for this Chrome driver, and then we are maximizing the window, deleting all the cookies, and setting up the implicit wait with the time interval of 10 seconds, and then we are hitting the URL. That's about at before test. And then here, as part of this at test method, we are trying to click the search button and we are trying to validate the error message. Please enter a search keyword. I'll show you this. We are currently in automationpractice.com/index.php. I'm just clicking on this particular search button. Okay, we are going to get some error message here. Please enter a search keyword. Okay, we are just trying to validate that particular error message. So that is the job of this particular class file. Okay, let me do one thing. Let me run this file and show you SessionNotCreatedException, and then we'll try to put a fix for that particular exception. We've got the exception. SessionNotCreatedException could not start a new session. Response code 500. This version of the Chrome driver only supports Chrome version 99. So in order to get this exception only, I've placed a different old version driver. Okay, let me go into this particular SRC test resources. Okay, in this I've defined two different Chrome drivers. See, this is the old driver that we are using currently. Okay, if our Chrome version is recent and using the old Chrome driver, then probably we'll be getting this kind of an exception. This version of the Chrome driver only supports Chrome version 99. Okay, so in order to put the fix for that, we'll have to use the latest one. Okay, I'll do one thing. Let me rename it to Chrome driver old, and then we'll put this Chrome driver latest. This is the latest Chrome driver which I downloaded earlier. Okay, let me run it again. I think we won't be getting any exception after this. Let's see. I've just triggered the test execution. Let's wait. Hopefully it does. Let's wait. The Chrome driver was started successfully, and see, it has opened up the index.php and it has to click this particular search button. I think it has clicked. We got the error message. Please enter a search keyword. I think the test has successfully done. So previously we had a session not created exception because of the old Chrome driver. We have updated the Chrome driver and now we have fixed that particular exception. Okay, so that's all about this particular exception, session not created exception.java. Let's see about InvalidSelectorException. Here I did a small change. Let me run it, then I'll show you. We'll first get the exception. It is the same file which I created from SessionNotCreatedException. I did a small change so that to get this particular exception. Now we are going to get InvalidSelectorException. Okay. See, InvalidSelectorException. I'll show you the exception right now. So the invalid illegal selector was specified. So I think you can able to guess that fix. If not, I'll show you. See, what I did was I just changed this CSS selector to Xpath syntax. So previously, let me show you. Previously, the syntax was something like this: button name equal to submit search. Here I've given /, which means I'm trying to refer Xpath value here. Okay, so when you are using CSS selector instead of Xpath, then probably you'll be getting this exception. that is invalid selector. To fix this particular exception, you can use proper CSS selector, something like this, or else you can give Xpath itself. Let me put Xpath and then we'll trigger it again. This time we should not get any exceptions. So this is the fix for invalid selector exception. I've triggered the suit. Let's wait. Let it execute. If you want, I can show you the execution as well. Just open the page. Let's wait. So with the correct Xpath syntax, probably we have fixed this invalid selector exception. Let's wait. Let it. We are again getting the error. I'm not sure why it is throwing this error. Yeah, see here also what I did was like I've given by.xpath. Let's put by.css here. Previously I changed it. I forgot to change this as CSS selector. Let me trigger it again. See, this particular syntax related to CSS. It is not related with Xpath. Okay, let me trigger that. Let's wait. Let it execute. So I think it's done. Let's wait for some time. Come on. Yes, it is done. Okay. So we had this fix for invalid selector exception. Now we'll see about no such element exception. Here also I did a small change. Okay, let me trigger the suit and then we'll see the exception. Later we'll figure out the cause of the exception. Let me show you the execution as well. Let it open. We'll be saying no such element exception right now. Where is that exception I'm expecting? Come on. Let's see. Yes, we got the exception. Here no such element, that is unable to locate element / button at ID equal to submit search here. Okay. So can you able to guess now what is the change I did? Nothing. I say let me show you the page. So okay. Let me inspect this particular element. Let me put it here. Okay, let me inspect. Okay, see the button type is submit and the name equal to submit search. But what I did was I changed it to ID. Okay, sometimes the QA engineers, I mean the automation engineers, they might do that such kind of a mistakes here. Instead of name, they'll give ID. Instead of a button tag, they'll give div tag. Okay, so we need to be very cautious before we put this kind of a XPath. Okay, if it is a ID, then you'll have to give correctly ID. If it is a name, then you'll have to give name. So here what we'll do, we'll try to change it as name. Okay, so that is a fix for this particular no such element exception. Let me execute it again and then I'll show you. See, as I showed you earlier, if you mention CSS selector instead of Xpath, we'll get invalid selector exception. Okay, so here the case is different. Inside this particular value, we are changing the tag names, different invalid tag names. So that is why we are getting that exception. Hopefully this should fix that particular exception. Let's wait. Yes, so we have fixed that no such element exception with the correct tag name. I'll give you another example. If a web element is repeated more than one time, in such scenario, we won't get any no such element exception. I'm going to say, let me show you now what we are trying to do as part of this script, right? So we are trying to find this particular contact text using Xpath. Okay, let me copy this Xpath. Go here, trying to find this particular contact text. Let it open. Okay, now see this particular contact text is repeated 2 times. One is here, another at the bottom. Okay, now it won't throw any no such element exception. It will ideally find this particular first element. Okay, if you're trying to click also using link text, right? So in the second line, I've given driver.find element by.link test and contact us dot click. So here also it will click the first occurrence of this particular contact us link. It won't throw any no such element exception. I just wanted to highlight this particular point here. Let me run it. So for that I've set this enabled equal to true. So that means it will trigger this particular test alone. So let it open. Now it is going to click this particular contact us link. Yes, I think it has clicked. Okay, we won't get any exceptions here. Yes. The point here is if element is repeated multiple times also, we won't get any exceptions. It will click the first occurrence or it will find the first occurrence. That's it. I have another example for you. I've created a method verify YouTube title. Here I'm trying to click on this particular YouTube link and then I'm trying to find this particular text using Selector. Okay, and then I'm performing the assertion. So let me show you the text here. Okay, see, I'm clicking on this particular YouTube link. I'll be taken to this new window. Here we are just validating this subscribe button text. Let me open up. It is not okay. Okay, see here I'm trying to find this particular subscribe to Selenium framework. I'm trying to validate this particular text using area label. So let me run and show you. Let's run. Ideally what it has to do is it has to click that particular link and it has to navigate to that particular window, but I haven't written any code to switch it to a different window. We are trying to find that particular area label text inside this particular first tab itself. So obviously we'll be getting no such element exception. See, okay, so in order to fix this particular exception, we'll have to navigate to this particular window and then we'll get this text and do the assertion. I'll be showing the fix for that particular exception while we work with multiple windows. Let's get into ElementNotInteractableException. I've created a method verify ElementNotInteractableException. As like previous example, we are trying to click on submit search button. Let me open up the page and I'll show you. So this is a button we are trying to click. When you could see here, button type equal to submit, name equal to submit search, right? So under this button we have span search. Okay, we are not supposed to include the span with this selector. What we have done is we have written button name equal to submit search and then we are using span. Okay, let me execute and show you. Now we'll probably get element not interactable exception just because of the span text. It is getting invoked. Let's see. Yes, we've got some exception here. Element not interactable exception. So to fix this particular exception, we can use JavaScript executor, something like this. Even when we use span text, right? With the help of JavaScript executor, it is helping us to click this particular search button. Let's see that. So to run that particular test, let me mark this as false and we'll mark this as true so that this particular test alone will run now. Let me execute. We have different sorts of ways to handle the issues. I'm showing one by one. So JavaScript executor makes a trick to fix that particular exception, element not interactable exception. So you can very well use JavaScript executor. Maybe that element may be overrun by some other element so that it won't get interacted directly. So that is why we use JavaScript executor to interact with that element directly. Let's see. So now the test has passed and it does the trick. So it has clicked this particular search button and now we got the error message, right? Okay, I'll do one thing. Okay, let me close all this thing. Okay, we don't get confused. Okay, now we'll do one thing. We'll have a second fix also. Okay, see, as I said earlier, like without span text also we can use this. We can fix this issue. Let's try that also. Okay, let me mark this as false. We'll have this particular test alone get triggered. Let me run it again. Obviously it will fix it. Let's see. Got triggered. See, exceptions are the main things in web automation. ElementNotInteractableException, ElementClickInterceptedExceptions are the main index. If you are able to resolve all those exceptions, then we are good to go with automation. Okay, now I think it is done. We have fixed that particular exception. That's about fixing ElementNotInteractableException. Let's get into one more exception, ElementClickInterceptedException. I've created a method. What we are trying to do here is we are trying to click on legal notice footer link. Let me open unode50.com/us. Once a page is being invoked, at the bottom of the page, you'll be seeing a pop-up, allow cookies pop-up. Let it come. Okay. Now, as part of our automation, we are trying to click on legal notice link, but we are seeing a pop-up here. So that is why we are getting element click intercepted exception. This element gets intercepted with this particular element legal notice. Okay, so to fix this issue, we are supposed to click on this first and then with legal notice. Let me go into the Eclipse. But what we are trying to do here is we are trying to click directly. See, we are not clicking on allow cookies. Let me trigger my suit and then I'll show you the exception. Page is being invoked. At the bottom of the page, you'll be seeing that allow cookies pop up. Let it come. Let's wait for a moment. This is taking more time. Let's wait. Yes, we got this allow cookies pop up, right? Okay, now it is trying to click on this legal notice link, but obviously the element click intercepted exception would occur. Let's see. See, element click intercepted exception. The element click intercepted. Which element? Other element would receive the click. It is saying. Okay, let's do one thing. Let me open up the. I'll clearly show you that which element is got the click. See, it is saying something. See, data cookie. Alert dialog. It's alert box, right? It's getting intercepted with that legal notice link. So that is why we are getting that error. So we'll do one thing. We'll fix this issue one by one. Okay, let me mark this as false and let's go with the first one. Okay, I've created a method with a fix. Okay, fix one. Here we are clicking on this allow cookies button and then we are proceeding with the legal notice link. Let's go with the fixes. Let me run it. Let's see whether it is fixing or not. Okay, let me close this one. See, there are multiple ways to fix. Let's see one by one. What happened? Selenium is sometimes very slow. Sometimes only, not every time. It has opened up the page. Let it come. Come on. Yeah. We got that pop-up. We have clicked that allow cookies and then we have proceeded with legal notice. So we had fixed that issue. Let me show you in another way. Using JavaScript executor also we can fix this particular exception. See, this is the syntax we have written. JavaScript executor JS equal to JavaScript executor of driver. Okay, js.execute script arguments of .click legal notice link. So these two lines will fix that particular exception. Let me run it and show you. The page is getting open. Let's see it. Yes, using JavaScript executor, we are trying to click a legal notice link. Yeah, it is clicked. The test execution has passed. So that's about fixing element click intercepted exception. Thank you for watching. Now let's get into NoSuchFrameException. Let me show you. I've created a method verify NoSuchFrameException. Okay, let me open up a page and show you what we are doing as part of automation. So we are trying to mouse over to this particular woman link and then we are trying to click on this particular t-shirts. So that is what we are being doing now. We are trying to mouse over to that particular woman link and then we are trying to click on t-shirt link. See, now the t-shirt page is being invoked. I'm just mouse overing to this particular image and clicking on quick view. loader is being invoked. Now this particular big image is being opened, right? So let me inspect this particular thing and I'll show you. And this particular image, right, big pic. So this big image ID equal to big pic. So this image is being present inside an iframe. See, and this iframe ID is dynamic. Okay, we cannot use fancy box iframe. Okay, but in my script, what I'm trying to do is I'm just using fancy box frame, static iframe name. This won't work. Obviously, we'll be getting no such frame exception. So in order to show that exception, I've written something like this. Let me run and show you. We'll be getting no such frame exception. Let it mouse over to human link. Nothing's happening. Let's see. I think yes. Haven't changed this to true. That is why nothing is happening. Let me trigger now. Let it open. Page is being invoked. It is trying to mouse over to human link, and then it is clicking on t-shirts link. Yes, mouse over quick view is done. We are going to get that big image. Come on. Yes, but it is, we haven't correctly switched to particular iframe, so it is going to throw no such frame exception. Let's see. So no frame element found by name or ID, fancy box frame. In order to fix that particular exception, let me change this as false. Okay, let me mark this as true. Okay, it's already being marked as true. Okay, here we are putting the fix with the dynamic iframe. Just creating a web element, driver.find element, by.xpath of this particular dynamic value. So this will fetch the dynamic iframe. Okay, and then we are passing this web element to driver.switch to a frame of this thing. So we are trying to switch to a particular iframe with this particular web element. So that's about the fix. Let's see. Let me trigger and show you. I just triggered the suit. So whenever no such element exception occurs, there should be two cases. Maybe you would have written incorrect Xpath or incorrect CSS selector, or else that particular element is present inside of iframe or in a different window. So those are all the different cases. Okay, now the execution is done. Our test is getting passed here. Okay, so that's how we are fixing no such frame exception. Let's get into no such window exception. I've created a method. Okay, here I'm trying to click on YouTube link on the index page. Let me open up the page and show you. Okay, the page has got open. Okay, see here at the bottom of the page we have the YouTube link, right? We are just clicking on this particular YouTube link, and then we are trying to perform the assertion of this particular page title. So that is what we are doing as part of this script. So in order to do this, we are just clicking on this YouTube link, and then we are getting all the windows of a page. Okay, there are two windows already open. We are assigning all the windows to this particular set, and then we are trying to iterate over the set using iterator. We are getting the first window and then assigning it to this variable child window. Okay, if you could see here, we have iterated to a first window, and then I'm trying to assign to a child window. So it implies this is parent window. Okay, and then I'm trying to switch it to this parent window. Okay, I'm getting the title. Okay, and performing the assertion. Okay, obviously this code is wrong. Okay, let me run and show you why I'm saying like that. So on the index page, it is trying to click on YouTube link. The page is getting open in a different window. We are getting all the window IDs. Okay, and then we are assigning to a set, and we are performing the iteration. Okay, and then once the iteration is done, see, I think the assertion gets failed because of my incorrect code. See, it has opened Selenium Framework YouTube. Previously, we had opened My Store. There are two windows open, right? So this first page title is My Store, second page title is Selenium Framework YouTube. Okay, what I've done here is just switch to parent window. It is not a child window. The variable name is child window, but I'm trying to assign a parent window ID to this particular variable name, child window. And then I'm trying to switch into this corresponding parent window only. So this is wrong. So that is why the assertion is getting failed here. Okay, so in order to fix that particular issue, we'll have to iterate it properly. Okay, let me show you. So this is the fix I've written. Okay, let me change this as false. Let me mark this as true firstly. Okay, now let's get into the code. So as we did it earlier, everything was perfect, but firstly we are getting the parent window and assigning into this parent variable. Okay, and then we are performing the iterations here as we did it earlier. Okay, now this i1.next gives you the child window that has been assigned to this particular child window variable. Okay, now we are having a if condition to cross check this parent window does not equal to the child window. That means we are switching it to the correct child window. I mean the second page and getting the title of it. I'm just closing that corresponding second window. Once this particular condition is done, and then we are switching back to parent window and performing the assertions here. So we have already got the title right from YouTube. So that's how it works. Okay, let me run it. YouTube page is being opened. Now it has to perform the assertion with this particular Selenium Framework YouTube. Yeah, it has closed the second window. See how it's done? That just because of this particular line. Okay, it has switched it to this particular child window, got the title, YouTube page title. Now it closed the second window and then switch back to parent window. Okay, now this child window title get assigned to this particular variable, YouTube page title, right? Now the assertion gets passed. So that's about handling multiple windows. With that, we have come to the end of the session. I've been putting more efforts on providing the real-time examples. So please make use of them in your automation project. Thank you for watching the video. Please subscribe to my channel and share this video with your friends. Take care. Bye-bye.